My lighting is horrible. I don't think that's any better. Maybe.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Natalie.
Hello. My hair looks fantastic.
Just give it a couple more minutes. Now all the people are coming in.
Trish, I'm wondering, is there a way to kind of, like you said, with giving it to them?
About 3 more minutes or so.
But now district.
All right, so it's right at 2 o'clock. I don't think I have anyone else in my waiting room, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Paige Wolf. I'm the librarian at Glenlock Elementary. I also have Natalie Fitzgerald. She's one of our teachers on campus that helps me with Car Rider Line in the meeting as well to answer any questions that I might not know the answer to or that she can help with. I will say I started the barcode Car Rider Line mainly because I was hot outside. That was really my main purpose, was to figure out how we could get this done faster so I could get inside and get into the AC. So this program works really well. Daryl Idle did a great job of working with me through all the kinks and things to make it work. So I'm basically just going to share my screen and just kind of walk you through what we do on our campus and how it works for us, and then open it up to any questions that you might have. Let me share my screen. So this is the type of scanner that I use from Amazon. It's just a wireless scanner. I can send y'all these links as well. So I have this scanner, and then I have this adapter right here. And this links to my iPhone. And I tried to go up to my campus to grab these items, but our campus is under construction and I could not find the box that it's in. So I do just use a standard iPhone with that cable plugged into the bottom. And then I have my wireless scanner. So for today's purposes, I brought just my plug-in scanner because it works the same way to show you how this works together. But those are the two items that you need, is the wireless scanner and the dongle is what it's called. From your SSO, you'll go to the Car Rider app. I again use my phone. I log into the SSO from my phone and I go to the Car Rider app. I'm not quite sure if all of you will have administrative rights right now. You'll have to email Daryl Idle to get those administrative rights. Again, since we've just been piloting this past year, I'm not quite sure if he's given everyone who needs it those rights. So it's whoever's on your campus that will be operating and controlling that system. They need administrative rights. So you click on the CarWriter app. And from here, this is what it looks like on the viewer's end that is in charge of scanning all of the cars. So for example, this is what it looks like for me as the scanner. The person inside the building that's viewing, any of the people that are viewing, their screen will look like this, which I have one person in the car. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my side. I'm gonna delete this off so it's not in the way. So we have what's called flights. So I go outside about 15 minutes early before everyone else, and I start scanning cars and putting them into flights in order. So when I do that, it puts them on the viewer that's in the buildings and by cars. So we have 7 cones outside our front porch. And the kids know which order they go in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the person inside will tell them what cone to go to. So I'm gonna show you how this works. So I'm gonna click on student, and I have their CarWriter tag. For example, this is their CarWriter tag, has their name, usually their teacher name, grade level, and then I have just pasted their barcode up here on the top. Okay, everybody with me so far? So I'm going outside to scan. The parent has this in their window, and I'm going to scan the car. So my cursor is going to be where it says student, and I'm going to take my scanner and scan the car. Down here at the bottom, it says the student was successfully added to the car. That just means their body was placed in the car in the online system. That does not mean the car has been added to the flight yet. And the reason for that is you might have multiple kids in one car. So only one kid in this car, I'm going to then add them to that flight. So now they're added to flight 1. I can check to make sure that they've been added to flight 1 by clicking on the info button right here. And it tells me that the student has been added to the car. So we're good. We got 1 kid in. So then I walk to the next car, make sure my cursor is where it says student, and I scan the barcode. Now this parent has 2 kids in the same car. So I'm gonna go ahead and scan the next barcode. Now they are both added into the same car, but now I need to add them to their cone or to their flight. So now I'm adding them, and they will be now in cone 2. So then I'm gonna walk to the next car. Scan. Add. Scan. Add. And I'm gonna keep doing this until I get to 7 students, because I have to keep that count in my head of how many cones I've scanned. So gotten down to 5, right? Now your CarWriter line might be longer. You may be able to have 8 cars in your CarWriter spot. You may be able to have 10 cars. It all depends on your staffing and how many cars you can fit in your CarWriter loop. I'm trying to encourage us to go to 8 next year. Be even faster. So now I have my 7 cars in my flight. So I know they're all in there. On my end is the scanner. Then I would click the flight 2 button at the top, and I would then start scanning the next 7 cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, scan them all in. Then I would flip to flight 3 and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna go back to flight 1 just so that you can see my 7 cars are there. Now, what do they see on the inside? The viewer from the inside of the building. Their view looks like this. This student gets in car 1. These 2 students and their grade levels get in car 2, car 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do I have any questions so far?
One page. Is that scanner strong enough to go through the windshield?
So yes and no. If their windshield is clean, yes. Many times I've like taken my sleeve and rubbed off the dirt on their screen, on their windshield. If they have super dark tint on their windows, no, it won't go through. But on days that it's been raining and we've been out there with an umbrella, they'll literally just crack the window barely and just like shove it right up at the top of the window, so that they don't get wet, even though I'm getting soaking wet. But yes, it can be done. A lot of our cars will go through the window, but we recommend. I'm short, so sometimes I have to jump really high to get them. You know, it just depends. So I wouldn't have it anywhere permanently to where they can't roll down a window and show it to you. But several of our parents will stick it in the window glass and then just barely roll down the window, and it just flops right there at the top, and we just beep beep and keep walking.
So you have them put it on the passenger side, like
Correct.
the window on the passenger side?
Correct.
And if you have a group that's together, do you have, like, if you've got a family, do you do like the Wolf family and then you have all their barcodes on there, or do you list the individual names of the students in the cars?
So what we originally had, each one had their own car rider tag, so we would scan each paper. But then that just got to be a lot of paper. So over time, I would print their barcodes, and then it you know, once you learn the families who are in your car rider line pretty quick, I would go out there and just redo theirs and put all 3 on one paper. That way they're only having to keep up with one paper. Now we do have some parents that they want to pick up other, you know, they have approval to pick up other kids on certain days, and I just tell them they have to get a car rider tag for, you know, for whoever extra they are picking up.
Do you have to physically click the add button, like scan and then on your phone click add?
Yes, correct. You have to click add because that's the only way it'll add it to the flight. That way you can scan multiple people into one car. So
Do you have a helper with you? Like, do you do all of that piece by yourself, or do you have somebody else with you that advances the cars and advances the flights?
So the way we have it set up is I am out on scanning duty, and about halfway through, because as a librarian, I can walk out of the building earlier than teachers that have classrooms with kids, right? So I go out and get started probably 5 to 10 minutes before the bell rings. And then about halfway through my scanning, another teacher will come out and assist me. Do I have to have another teacher out there with me scanning? No, I can do it all by myself, but it goes so much easier when you have another person, mainly to deal with like people who cut in line or parents who forgot their tag, and now we have to send them to go park and show their ID, and you know, just to kind of deal with some of the other maintenance things. We were touching their tags before, like they would hand it to us through the window and one of us would scan. But it makes it a lot easier if you have one person on the app and one person with the scanner. So if they scan, you click add. They scan, you click add. You know, can it be done with 2 hands? Yes. It just takes a little bit longer. So if you have the staff put an extra person out there, that would be great. On the inside, like on the, what I call the inside, on our porch, we have a teacher station or paraprofessional stationed at every cone to let kids in their car. But we also have like a porch manager, and that's the person with the iPad making sure all 7 cars are loaded. And then I'll show you the part that they do from their end. When they
Okay, I have one other question. So do your teachers that put the kids in the car give like a thumbs up when their car is loaded? Like, how does the porch manager keep up with all the cars to make sure everybody's loaded?
I mean, normally because she can see there's no kids standing on their cone. So once they're
Okay.
in the car, I mean, she'll check the 7 cones. no one's standing there, they're in, they start moving, you know, and then she'll call for the next flight via walkie-talkie, you know, send flight 2, send flight 3, send flight 4. That way kids are moving while kids are moving.
Sorry, I was filling out the second grade spreadsheet, and then I was looking on the Google, but it's empty.
Okay, I'm in a meeting. Can I call you in about
I was like, not for me.
Okay, so I have one other question, Paige. I'm sorry that I have all these questions. So, what happens if a kid doesn't show up for their cone?
So we've had that happen before. We ask the parents to park, get out of the line and park, and we go find the kid.
Okay.
They're sometimes in, you know, bus loop because they forgot they were a car rider that day. We just ask the parent to get out of line so that it doesn't hold up the next flight that's coming in.
I have a quick question because I'm sorry I jumped in late, and so I know you have the scanner, but how is it connected to where you're adding it on the app?
So say that again for me.
Well, I jumped in a little late. I'm sorry, y'all already started, but so I'm assuming you already said how you have the scanner on iPad or your phone.
I use my phone, correct. I use my phone, and I have this device right here that connects a USB to my Apple phone.
Then you click the scanner.
Okay.
And I can email y'all somehow or drop
Okay.
links in the comments of what they are. But basically it's a USB female adapter to iPhone.
Email adapter. Okay.
Yeah, and they're like $10. I've tried to find them at Best Buy in places locally, and I've not had any luck. And that plugs directly into the bottom of my phone, and then I plug the wireless dongle, you know, the little into that end, and it just wirelessly connects.
Paige, you may get to this. 2 questions. If a family that you know well, typically we would make our families park, come in if they don't have their tag. But this day and age, if we know, we can verify maybe through Walkie with the front office. I'm assuming you can type that name where that little cursor was?
Correct.
Yes?
Yes.
And then you load it, you click add. Second thing, so HeyVision, I keep seeing that, and I've heard that you can project through HeyVision because you can also simultaneously Bus Hub on there.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all do that, or did your teachers look at this screen?
We didn't, only because we weren't super big into Bus Hub, using Bus Hub. And so our car riders parked themselves in the middle of our hallways. So we have 2 hallways. So one side was K through first and K through second, and the other hallway was 3rd and 4th. And so we had one teacher stationed at each door with an iPad that showed them which kids were up next. Now multiple teachers could have an iPad. Natalie, are you still in here?
I am.
Tell them how it worked on that end inside the building.
So inside the building, yeah, you could either use your phone or you can use an iPad. A lot of times I would use my phone because of the internet access. For some reason on my phone would be better than the iPad using the internet access in the building. So we would have at least one teacher, maybe 2, that always had the Car Rider app pulled up. And we would line the kids up inside the building and make sure that they were there we knew that they were there. And that actually, if a child, I was on the lower at the pre-K to 1st grade side. So the littles, sometimes if they weren't there, it gave us time to go and find them. And then we would line them up inside the building and wait for the porch teacher to say, okay, send the flight. And then those kids would go out. So we had several flights lined up inside the building before they even called to go out. It just made it go much faster.
Mm-hmm. So that's part of the benefit of going out early and scanning as many flights as I would probably get at least 5 flights scanned in because our parents get there at like 2 o'clock. And we could get them scanned in before the bell even dismissed. So that way when the teachers did get on their duty spot in the hallways with the kids, they could get them lined up in order and just wait for the walkie-talkie person to say, send the flight. Any other questions about that?
Paige, can you Tell me again, once you complete the flight, how do you submit the flight to change to the second one?
Right.
I missed that.
So here, so this is what your teachers see. They see this flight right here. And once they've sent that flight out, let me go ahead and move over to flight 2 so you can see multiple flights and scan in a few. So I'll just click on flight 2. I've got my 7 cars in flight 1. So I'm moving to flight 2. I'm going to scan and add. Remember, I scan the barcode. Then I add them to the car. So I think of the scanning as I'm putting their little body in a car. And the add button adds them to their cone in line. So I know that that student will be cone 3. And I can keep adding. Now say, like you said, for example, you know, Johnny forgot his tag and his mom, actually we had one incident where a tag went down the window. So we knew she had the tag, but she lost it down the window. I can search by first or last name, right? And these will add them. He was added to the current car, right? And then I will add him to the lane. I can click the info button to make sure that the student that I was supposed to select is actually the student that we wanted in the car. That makes sense. Then I can go back to scanning, or you know, there were some times where we knew cars so well by the end of this that it didn't take any time. No, my scanner doesn't want to work. We could figure them out so quick. We could almost type their names in faster than before they could even get their paper. I'm gonna add both of those kids. Let me add one more. I just want you to see what 2 flights look like.
How many about this already started?
All right, so I have 2 flights in.
How many?
So on the teacher end, the viewer end inside, do you see how they see red flight 1, red flight 2? So these are the students, you know, this is what it would look like on their end. Okay, so then say the porch person sees those first flight get into their cars and they leave, they're going to hit, we never use the notify button. You can do it. You can say, hey, I'm notifying the campus that you're leaving. So, okay, I've notified you. Now I can clear them out. Clear. They've left the building. So now all my teachers see on their end inside is just flight. The flight now becomes the next flight. Does that make sense?
But where are you doing all of that? Your phone?
Mm-hmm.
I do, well, right. So
Yeah.
I have my phone as the scanner, and then there's another person on the porch with either an iPad or their phone.
So she's scanning with hers. The other person is doing like notify, like when they see the car drive off, they can hit notify to let the people on the inside know get on.
If you have like 5 flights in, have 5 flights scanned, and you clear a flight, does that move flight 2 to flight 1 and flight 3 to flight 2? Do they all?
No, they don't move. I mean, on the screen they'll move up, but I cleared flight 2, not flight 1. That's my fault. So I accidentally cleared flight 2 when I was trying to clear flight 1. So when you hit that clear button, it clears whatever flight's in there. Does that make sense? So right now, if I hit clear flight 1, it's going to clear everything out of flight 1. We'll clear it. Everybody's gone. Okay. So now on their end, they see nothing because all the flights have now been dismissed. Everybody's gone. And then it gives you this nice little printout, kind of like student tracks that tells you what time they were scanned or what time we scanned their car and put them in line.
Okay, so I have 2 questions. First of all, do you also scan them in student tracks as they're leaving the building?
Yes, we do.
Okay, and second of all, how do you add flights?
Okay, so right now it has it, I think he has 14, 15 flights already preloaded in. You just add the plus button, or you just start back over with 1. So most of the time our flights, we normally have about 10 to 12 flights, and then we have those few stragglers that come in. So after we get, towards the end and they're all cleared out, I mean, you can add another one or you can just start back over. But you can add as many flights as you want with this plus sign right here.
So I have a quick question. So how do you account for those students that are new to campus and have no barcodes?
Okay, so same thing. This is connected to PEAM. So once they're in the system, you can search for their name with the search function right here.
Okay.
And it should pop up. If it does not, because that was one of our issues last year. If it does not, you can simply type their name. We'll just say he's in 3rd. And that's what I normally do. You would click this green check mark right here. And then click add, just like you would any other student. And it'll put in whatever you type.
Okay, perfect.
So we just got into the habit of putting the name and the grade level, so the person on the other end knew how to find them.
Real quick question, Paige. This is, so that would be like a person that was maybe got here at noon or something, and they're not in the system yet. You would just type them in like that, just to make sure.
But they still, they still checked in the front office and got their car rider tag. So yes.
What I meant, they didn't get a car rider sign. Let's just say it's like a 1-day thing, because we have some of those like a 1-day or 2-day thing, and then they're going to be a permanent bus rider. Do we type them in like that and then kind of let them know or something, notify?
We make them get a car rider tag at the beginning, like regardless. Basically, that way they always have it in the event that they are ever a car rider. They don't have the barcode on it because our campus still hasn't figured out how we're going to get those barcodes on there. Last year, I literally just put them out and pasted them on every day, so until I got it all figured out. Or I used student tracks as they were being signed out. And I pulled a student track report and looked at how he was a repetitive car rider and pulled it from there.
Yeah, so you could, so on just a 1-day, you would just like type their name in and just notify them.
Yeah, if they're in the system, you can search for their name.
Okay, but if they're not in the system,
type it in.
Type it in. Okay.
Right.
And what about you never want to do multiple scanning, do you? In case we have a big car rider line, I don't know. Let's say we have 200 cars.
You're going to get out of order, right? So you're going to you've got to count 7 cars. Now, I mean, if you're with it enough to say, okay, these, the first 24 cars you scan, and then I'm going to pick up on flight.
Yeah.
What would that be? 6 or 7? You see what I'm saying? But honestly, do any of you have 2 lanes?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I scan. What I used to do, we're fortunate enough, we're right by the bus barn, and so at Vogel we have 2 lanes.
Okay, so down here at the bottom,
and then they go through. So I mean, I have
yeah.
them memorized, and so I would call, and it's really quick. So I'd go boom, 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 boom,
right.
And then I would wait for everybody else. But I don't want to get, you know what I mean?
You
so
can.
I might
down
have
here.
20 flights.
Down here.
Okay.
You have an add lane button right here, and you can title, like, our lane is called red just because that's what Mr. Idle has it programmed in, but you can change it to be right here. I can edit it. and I can call this purple, right? So then I have a red lane and a purple lane. And yes, I could have 2 scanners with 2 people scanning. Whoever is scanning to the purple lane would scan to the purple lane. Whoever's scanning to the red lane would scan to the red lane.
See, that might be confusing though, because we have the 2 lanes, but then when they get picked up, it's just 1 lane. Does that make sense?
Oh, they like feed together. Okay.
Yeah. And plus red and purple wouldn't mix good together. I'm an art teacher. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand, but I was just wondering if we could do it out there, but that wouldn't make sense. So.
No, that would almost make it more difficult for you on your end.
But like you said, oh, sorry.
Possibly get a recording of the Zoom as well. That way, if we wanted to review all the stuff you've been talking about, we can get that. Thanks. Appreciate it.
And also at the top up here in the CarRider app, there, if you click on this help question mark, it keeps saying this. I'm gonna have to call Mr. Idle and find out why it keeps saying that. He has supposedly loaded a bunch of help videos, tutorials in there as well to help you walk through every step of it as well. I am happy to come over and walk you through it, 6 foot apart with my mask on, and help you through it as well, because it really does. I think we can get 100 cars through our CarRider line in 12 minutes max. And that's, that's not bad. So we normally start calling once the cars actually start moving to the time they're done. On a typical day, it's 10 to 12 minutes. I mean, I time it because, like I say, August heat, it's hot out there and I want inside.
How many car riders do you have normally?
We have not much more than that 100. I mean, on any given day. So we can pretty much be done with our CarRider line in 10 to 12 minutes once it starts moving.
Paige, is there anyone on the Zoom that does have 2 lines?
No one else has used this, so just Glenlock. So I don't know. I know Stewart Elementary has 2 lines, only because my children go there and I've seen it myself. So I know they have 2 CarRider lines, but they've not used the app. So they just call with a walkie-talkie and put in Google Doc, I think. So.
Hey, this is Vanessa Lincoln. Sorry, my camera's not working real well. I just have a question. What adjustments are you making for social distancing at dismissal?
Well, not been informed of that as a librarian yet.
Okay.
So I honestly don't know what procedures are going to be in place. I foresee this being the kids will stay in their classrooms, which is why the Bus Hub, CarRider, A-Vision thing will come in handy, because they will be able to see from their classrooms what flight the student's in. And then when they call that over the intercom, then that student can walk down the hall and go to their car.
Okay. Are you having any kind of runners, like for littles, to keep them if we have to social distancing, which I'm assuming we are?
I'm sure we will.
Okay.
They can't do that by themselves.
Thank you. Thank you very much for walking us through this, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I was going to pull up Bus Hub so you can see.
So Paige, y'all only have traffic coming from one direction?
Correct.
Okay. We have like 3 lines merging together as they come into our front drive. So that's what's like stopping us from doing this. So I guess we'll have to reroute people.
Yeah, that, well, it's not gonna let me do that. That is one thing that when we have cutters, they do try to turn in the wrong spot and it throws our line completely off. And normally we make them park and get out of our way because they mess with, and most people are realizing, I'm very sorry, but yeah, when you have multiple directions, I'm not quite sure. I mean, you would almost have to put someone where they merge and scan just from that one spot, which would slow you down a bit.
Yeah, we'd only be able to get like 12 or 14 cars scanned.
Yeah. But honestly, once the CarRider line starts moving, You can scan, like we chase cars, don't get me wrong. I've run down the side of Glenlock Drive trying to chase a car because they didn't realize I was scanning and they drove off and didn't let me get to them to scan them before they kept moving. So once our car rider line does start moving, we have to follow it. So we stay with the last car that we scan until it starts moving. And then once it starts moving, we walk with them along the side of the road to keep it moving. What other questions?
I have a real quick question. Again, let's say that, I don't know, I'm just throwing a name out here. Dusty Moran from Oak Ridge Elementary. Maybe her phone dies during the middle of it because she was texting when she shouldn't have been. I'm just saying the name. I don't know.
Sure.
If she's
Yeah.
But you would just get another phone and
Another device and pick right
Okay.
there. Yeah. Because there's been times I've had to leave early and go to a meeting. We'll just switch off and I'll be like, hey, can you go ahead and log in and pick up from where I left off? And it picks right up from wherever you left off.
Okay, I was just checking, just make sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have two again. So the barcode we saw, I'm trying to wrap my mind around security. Like there is that possibility to email families. I don't see in my head in elementary how we could do that and stay secure that we're emailing the right family, the right barcode. Like I like the idea of it being on their paper. Did y'all ever use that option?
So that option, it's under barcodes here. It's new. That was not there last year.
Okay.
So what I would have to do every time is go into Student Tracks and print their barcode. Like I would make myself a list every day of who was missing their barcode or who dropped it or who's got wet or who spilled their coffee on it and have to make them a new one all the time. So this feature is new and I understand your concerns as well to make sure.
Like I could see from a convenience standpoint, it's on the parent's phone, you flash your barcode, but then like how would you pay with, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we probably won't use it either. The other thing is we are a really big walker community and I hope that we have more car riders than walkers, but I was wondering, do y'all have I was wondering if like, could you create a different lane just for walkers and dismiss in a similar way, the way parents line up? And this may not apply to everyone. I'm just like thinking in my head, how could you do this?
Yeah, you can create these lanes down here to say whatever you want them to say. So
it would project both to teachers, right? Like it would be red lane, here's this purple, like they would see both at the same time.
Right. So if I were to add,
and we'll play with it. I'm sure we just need to play with it. I just
right. I'm going to add Max Wolf
for walkers as well.
Right. So say I added him to the car. Now I'm going to add him to the walker lane. Right. But I want my other child to be a car rider. I'm going to add her over there. So when I go to look on the other end, then yeah, here's my car rider flights and here's my walker flight.
So it'll be two separate flights within it, with the lanes?
They would each have their own flight within the lane.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Paige, about the permissions or the users, I can see that there's the administrator and then a dismisser and a viewer.
Right.
Do we need a lot of administrators? Do we need a lot of viewers, dismissers, or what's the difference?
No. So on our end, on our campus, Mr. Idle is obviously an admin because he created it. And then my assistant principal is an admin. And then I am an admin. And then we have our viewers and our dismissers. Like Miss Fitzgerald, who's on the call, she's a dismisser because she has the ability to scan and click depart when they leave. So she can do.
So that needs to be a dismisser.
Correct. Whoever's on your porch person that dismisses the flights, or whoever is going to be one of your scanners.
Okay.
Be a dismisser. Now everyone else is a viewer, and I have like 3 pages of different people and different jobs because they rotate in and out based on their schedule.
So all the teachers need, if the kids are going to stay in the classroom, then all the teachers need the viewer rights.
Correct. That is correct. And you just change it down here at the bottom. And
Do
one,
they need the viewer rights even if we're going to do it on HeyVision?
just, I mean, it doesn't hurt anything to give them the viewer rights. They can't mess anything up because all they'll see is this screen right here as a viewer. They'll just see who's in each car. Now the person,
How many scanners do you use usually?
I only use one because we only have one car rider line.
What about the dismissers?
They don't need it because they use the phone to just depart the flight.
Okay,
They don't need to scan anything.
thank you.
Do the dismissers or maybe the viewers have the student track scanners as the kids leave the building, they're doing the student tracks? So they're doing student tracks, but you're doing car app scanning.
So Natalie, correct me, don't we have 3 people on duty inside the hallways normally?
At least. We had a couple extras in the little hallway just because they're the littles. And there were added complications, you know.
And so one person would scan them out with student tracks, one person would line them up, and one person would let them out the door or walk them to their spot.
Correct. That was why we had extras on the little side too, because making sure the littles got to the right cone, you would send a teacher with them, especially pre-K and kinder in the beginning.
So when a kid is loaded in a car, do you let that car go ahead and leave? And then does that cause problems when the line, like do people try to move up to the next cone or?
I mean, so I'm glad you brought that up because I did not say that. So we do tell them when we scan their ticket in the car rider line, I do tell them, hey, you're cone 1, you're cone 2, you're cone 3. And then we do have our cones labeled out on the porch. So sometimes they pass up their cone, but not normally. It takes a little while to get into a habit until they get into the habit. But they normally go to their cone and stop. And, you know, there might be a little lag time or little Johnny wants to talk forever to whoever's putting him in the car. And you're like, come on, let's go, keep it moving. So that's when your porch person comes in handy of, you know, this isn't the time for parent conferences and keep lawn moving type situation.
And so as soon as the kid in cone 1 gets in the car,
they go.
Car goes ahead and goes, but you don't necessarily clear it until the last person is in the car. So cone 6 is in the car. Now it's cleared, meaning.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And really for the first several months that we did it, we didn't clear flights. We just left them all in there and the teachers just kept track. It's really just to help your teachers keep track of what flight is next. But if you have someone announcing flight 5, then they should be able to go to flight 5 and look who's there, even if 4, 3, 2, and 1 are all still there. It's just really an organization thing to clear it out just so that it's not on your screen anymore. But it doesn't have to be, you know. But it does have to be cleared out before the next day. Otherwise, everything's still there. So I will tell you 2 buttons never to touch unless you know what you're doing. That's these red ones. We did have a whole flight of cars loaded in and the porch person accidentally clicked this big red button right here and it lost everything. Everything was gone. So this trash can deletes the whole lane, like the whole thing. You click it and now it's gone forever and you can't get it back. So I always tell anybody that's on porch duty or anybody that has dismisser duty, don't ever touch the red buttons ever. Never, ever. Because that's what deletes the whole lane. So then I have to go back in. So at the end of the day, I will go through and just depart all or delete all. And then the next day I'll go back and add my lanes in for whatever, you know, whatever I'm doing for that day. I know this is a lot. I promise it's really user friendly once you get going. I strongly suggest just printing out some barcode tags and just practicing like at your desk. Just lay them out like they're cars and scan each one and just practice a few times just to get used to it before you go live. So the way we kicked it off is we still use the walkie-talkies and scanned for probably a good, would you say a week or two, Natalie?
Yeah, it was a good week or two just to be sure. We would still call and test out that technology for a little bit and get the parents used to it as well, because it was new for all the parents. That whether or not they had to have their barcode or we were just calling their name, that was new for them too. So we gave them time to get used to it.
So we would have walkie-talkies still for the first 2 weeks of school, just until everyone gets back into the habit of using it. What other questions do you have?
Paige, will you show one, now I'm paranoid because the red buttons. Will you show one more time, loading a couple of kids and then showing the dismiss?
Absolutely. So you would go to the students, make sure your cursor is there. If your cursor isn't there, your scanner will still beep, but nothing will actually load there. So make sure your scanner is in the student. You scan a barcode, you add them to the lane. Right, so I've got 1, 2. Oh, this poor scanner stuff have it. So what do you say? We got 3 cars in the first lane. And then we want to go to flight 2 because we only have half our population. We're gonna add them. We'll say Johnny forgot his tag. So I want to search. Oh, sorry, my name's Caitlin. We'll click you in. We added you to the car. Now we're going to add you to the lane. Oh, with the next car, they're new. They just showed up today. So we're going to click the green check button to add them.
Paige, when you type the name, there's the green button in a car. What's the difference between those two?
I have to go back and remember.
Oh, no, don't worry. So then we need to use just the green one.
I just use the green button.
Okay, perfect.
I want to say the orange one adds them directly to the car and to the lane, but sometimes you have multiple kids that you have to, like we had one family that could never remember to bring their tag. So we had to type in all 3 of their kids' names every single time. So then we had to add each one every single time. So I just have always gotten in the habit of using the green button. I'm sure the orange car has some relevance. So
got it.
Not quite sure what it is. So we've got those in the car. So this is what my viewer sees on their end in Bus Hub or in their classroom or on their iPad. Right, so they'll say so-and-so, go to car 1, come 2, come 3. So now the first 3 have gotten in the car. I'm gonna make sure I'm on flight 1, because that's what I didn't do earlier. Make sure it's highlighted, right, in black. And I can notify, okay, everyone, they're leaving, hope you're in your car. And now I'm going to clear them. And they will disappear from just that flight. If I click this red button, the whole thing goes away for everybody. And you don't want to do that. So the only 2 buttons that you need to worry about when dismissing is notify and clear. So then all they'll see on the car's end, on the viewer's end in the classroom is, okay, now we're on flight 2. And here are the 3 cars for flight 2. Oh, that's not much bigger. Make sense? So then we'll go back. The dismissers stay in this flight mode so that they can see each flight that's loaded. So now flight 2 has loaded. I'm going to notify. my viewers. Now they know they're leaving. Hope you got in your car. And now we're cleared. They're leaving.
Paige, y'all call over the announcements to let them know which flights are being loaded, or do you?
We use walkie-talkies because the kids were all in the hallways right there at the front doors. So now I'm sure we'll have to use the announcements to make that work. Due to social distancing. Any other questions? Anything I've forgotten? Does it seem like something you can use? Yeah. I promise it's overwhelming at first, but once you just get in there and just play with it, you'll realize it's pretty user-friendly. And I'll be happy to help in any way I can just to get it going for you. Let me put these links in the chat. So you have them.
Hey, do you know if we could go in and create our own username password, or does that have to be given to us from Daryl?
That has to be given from Daryl for the admin rights.
Okay.
And y'all, they make like some fancy wireless scanners, like it's a ring that you can wear on your finger and scan things. Like, I mean, they have some fancy wireless scanners. I just picked the cheapest one I could find because I didn't know if this would really actually work. So, so once I realized it did work, then, you know, you can upgrade to a fancier.
Where did you buy that scanner, Paige?
I just put the link in the chat.
Okay.
Did it go to y'all or no? May have not. No,
I'm on my phone, so I'm just looking at the page that you're sharing, but I'll look and thank you. I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot of questions, so as I'm gonna try to play with it today, and I appreciate your helping us, and I'm very excited to see that this might help us because CarWriter is something that we work on it for a long time, and it usually takes us more than 40 minutes. So I'm pretty excited to see that this is going to speed up the process.
Yeah, you definitely need someone that's on your staff that can go out earlier than everyone else. So make sure you identify that person, because that's what helps us go faster, is that almost half of the CarWriter line is scanned in before this bell even rings.
Yes.
That really does speed it up quite a bit.
Yeah, we do have 2 lines merging into the parking lot, but I think we can get a good number of cars scanned before the so.
Yeah, and even when you're scanning, if you tell them, hey, you're behind, like Chick-fil-A, you know, you're behind this car, you're behind this car, you're behind this car as you're walking down, that way they can zipper in, and you've told them which, you know, car to get behind. So maybe that would help speed it up too, that they know when to merge, you know.
All right.
Hey, I'm in the email system. I am jwolf at honorisd.net. Parents called me by my middle name. It's torture. But so I'm Jennifer Wolf in the system, but I go by Paige. And we're here to help you. Like I say, I don't mind coming over and walking you through it or troubleshooting it with you. I know Daryl Idle said the same thing, that he would be happy to come over and help as well. So Natalie and I are pretty quick at it. So we can give you a demonstration of how it works for us if you need it.
Having done this both ways, you know, the old CarWriter where you're just yelling kids' names and it's mass chaos. This is amazing, I will tell you. The difference at the school. It just feels so much safer too, because you're tracking the kids, you know the cars. It just, for me as a teacher, having done it both ways, this is absolutely amazing. And Paige is awesome because she, basically created this thing herself. So.
Oh, I just implemented.
Well, take compliment.
But you did say, Natalie did say that in the hallways, the kids are silent. She said it is
It's so quiet. Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't happening before we implemented the system. So probably because it's fast, you know?
Yeah. And it just feels so much safer.
Yeah. Well, I'll stay on for a few more minutes if anybody else has any other questions pertinent to your campus. And then if not, feel free to email me anytime and I'll be glad to help you get going.
Thank you, Paige.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Paige, I had a real quick question. This is over at Vogel.
Yeah.
The 3 people you had in the hallway, one was a student tracker where they just scan like old time, like they were on their backpack just to verify that they left our school. And then what are the other 2 that you had?
One was with the iPad, just monitoring the flights and making sure the kids
So
got
it's a flight monitor, kind of.
a viewer.
Like,
Mhm.
You go
And
to
then-
flight 2, 3, whatever.
Right. And then
Did
the
you have
other,
them line up- Did you have them line up in the hallway or in the hallway under the flight?
we did.
And then they let the whole flight out? Okay. And then the third was the let out person, kind of lined them up and stuff.
Right. So if you have, I mean, I know with social distancing, I don't know how this will be possible this year, but lining them up in the hallways, you know, we would get them lined up multiple flights at a time in the hallways before they even started calling names outside, you know, calling flights. That way it was quicker. But with social distancing, I don't know how that's going to happen.
And I think we're going to do the bus thing too. I'm not sure. But Krista, our principal, we're going to have a day of practicing this with, you know, we're going to have people with cars and stuff. So if I let you know maybe in a couple days in advance, maybe you can just come over and either monitor or help us with something. I think that would be great.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'll let you know because I don't know if that's for sure or whatever, but
okay. Yeah.
I mean, we had like I could get 200 and something cars in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
By calling out. So what do you think it'll break it down into once we get it going? If it was like we release at 3:50 or 4 o'clock, and the old way we would get like we would type in, because I would call on my phone to somebody and they would call, and we would have like maybe the first 8 cars, maybe 10 cars. And then I had to memorize enough where I could just go boom, 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 boom. So you think it'll knock off like half the time once it gets going?
I think once it gets going, you're looking at least 10 to 15 minutes off, I would think.
Knocking it off?
Yeah.
So if it was 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, if it was 40 minutes?
Right.
Okay.
And that's if you're able to get out there and get everything scanned in ahead of, you know, that's the only challenge I know some of the campuses will have, because they do have lines that merge and they don't, like, they have people turning in from all different directions. But again,
and I don't know how they do it over, but usually like at Kaufman and I think Oak Ridge, it's always the art teacher. You know, I don't know, I guess we're loud or something. But like if Ashland, we have a new librarian. If the librarian goes out there for the first 10, if she can get that started, and then I can come out and do it.
Right.
Because I mean, I know other people too. So you know, if they're a car rider, because you know they don't come to me always. So.
And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes, I mean, I'm obviously absent sometimes too. So we had to get other people trained because it couldn't just be me, you know? So my goal this past semester was to grow some other people up, because I was like, look, I can't be the only one out here sweating to death every day.
Oh yeah, the first couple of days, man, I'm like.
But
oh, God.
I just thought they need to share the wealth. I mean, like, it can't just be me. What if something happens to me? Like, the whole system's going down. So we really spent a lot of time rotating through and training other people up so that it wasn't just reliant on one person all the time, you know? So once you mastered it, then you might now have to go be the porch manager and figure out that position. So she trained 2 or 3 people under her in case she was in a meeting or staff development or whatever the situation might be. And then if I was being sick or whatever, then someone else could easily step into my position. We just kept the scanner and the little dongle in a central location so anybody could grab it and get out there and get started.
That's perfect, because usually the person that I rotate with, because my daughter plays volleyball, I don't know how that's going to be this year, you know.
Right.
If I had to leave her early to a game, then she would go out there, and I mean, and that's how we got to memorize, but she's with baby this year, so
Yeah.
I don't want her out there in the sun.
Right.
So, So just, it's usually good to have 2 or 3, at least.
Hey,
yeah.
Paige, I have a quick question. The dongle that you showed us, is that for iPad? Do they all, I mean, iPhones and iPads, or do they have something similar for Android? Because I'm Android and some other people are iPhones.
So I would type in, I'm pretty sure, I mean, I'm sure there is. Android.
I would hate for the school to have to buy 2 for 2 different types of phones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they're like $10.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I hear you. I just buy my own for sure.
Right. So yeah, so there's one here.
Okay.
And it's $5.96 for 2. So.
All right, that's doable.
Yeah, you just want to make sure you have the female end.
Right.
So that this wireless adapter can go in the connector.
Okay.
And I know there's some formatting with those scanners. Usually your librarian can probably help you with that too once they come in, to make sure that it's reading the code correctly. Like when we scan books, there's a special, certain type of coding it has to have in the scanner. So they can probably help you with that. If not, I know Daryl Idle can make sure your scanner's working. But yeah, they have them for Androids too. Now, one of my helpers had one of the bigger iPhones, and oh, that was so nice. I guess I have the 10, screen's still kind of little. So she had the bigger screen, so it was nice. But you have to use data because none of our Wi-Fi will stretch that far from the campus. So that's why I had to use my personal device. Now, I could possibly turn a hotspot on my phone and connect an iPad to that so that I have a bigger screen to work with. But that's preference,
I was thinking we might could just dedicate an iPad for the car rider line. And that way, if the Wi-Fi, like you said, will reach that far out into the parking lot and so on.
Yeah, ours would not. And I walk from Glenlock all the way down to McCullough scanning. So I walk a pretty good ways I call it my cardio for the day. So I walk all the way down there scanning. So there's no way. I've even tried to pick up McCullough's Wi-Fi to see if it would just connect. And it wouldn't, it just wouldn't stay.
Yeah.
And
we'll have to play with it. But at least it's a possibility.
Yes, and even then, I mean, you could always buy a small package or whatever data for your iPad, and I don't know if the district will pay for that or not, but that way you have it on a bigger screen. Like I've even tried taking a Chromebook out there. I mean, believe me, I've tried it all.
If the Chromebook didn't do it,
again, you have to have service. So if you have Wi-Fi, yeah,
I'll pay across the street, and I have a feeling it won't do that. But like you said, when you have a partner out there with you, how would it go? Like if I'm scanning and it's to my phone, would she just be on my phone, like right on my hip?
Yeah. Yeah. So whoever's on the phone, I just tell them to log in. So if I'm a phone person that day, then I'm on the phone. Or if whoever's got the scanner, whoever has the most charged phone. Sometimes, like you said before, my battery ran out because I used it during the day, and so I didn't charge it, and I forgot that I had Car Rider, and so I'm like, hey, log into yours. We've got more battery. There have been a few close moments where I'm like, oh, this is gonna die, and what am I gonna do?
But it's just one device. The actual scanner is in the phone, so like your person would hold the phone.
Yeah, we just stand next to each other. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I don't know if I'm stinky at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, we stand next to each other and just scan.
Okay, I think that's good, but I'll let you know if we're gonna do that run through.
Okay.
They're all recorded, or maybe have you like Zoom it, or if you come by or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know. It's once school starts, she wants the dedicated time because we're gonna do bus on the same thing. So I think we might do that hay vision thing that you were talking about.
Right.
And so.
Right.
And I'll let you know if we have. How much troubleshooting was it like the first month or so?
I mean, the program itself had a lot of bugs that I had to work with Daryl Idle to get through. Just user things that were, you know, because he didn't actually come out and use it yet, so he wasn't sure how it would operate. So for us, it took a little bit, but once now, I mean, I can implement it in a week at our campus and it'll be going easy. He's worked so hard to get it so user friendly that it'll be quick.
One thing we thought about doing was, you know, when the teacher kids are here, these first few weeks, we could practice with them.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do whoever mentioned about the walkers, we're gonna have them do walkers.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have some of the older kids, if they want to drive through. Not hit anybody.
Yeah.
So,
You
and
could
then,
get some staff members out there in cars with barcodes in them and just practice it.
so, well,
And
thanks a lot.
If you want me to come over on whatever days those are and I'm able to, I'll be glad to come over and walk you through it, you know, just to have a person of experience standing there troubleshooting it for you.
Because I'll get with Krista, our principal, and she said she kind of wants to dedicate that because, I mean, we have quite a few, you know, Title I, they're just everywhere, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
We'll see.
Teamwork makes dream work.
Thank you. And that's right. Even 6 feet apart.
Even 6 feet apart. We're all here together.
All right. Will you tell Miss Hess, because I had her daughter, Kinsey.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know, she has another kid coming. I wonder if they're going to go to your way.
I'm not sure.
They have a
Well, I
younger
know
one?
her son is he'll be in 3rd grade. So he's still got a couple more years.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you, Paige.
Yes. So nice to see y'all.
thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.